All right, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the Privy Council session of 2023. I will, of course, I'm presiding. Everybody knows that. That's the rules now. So, yay! We're gonna be using our first adopted procedural bylaws. Woohoo! So we're gonna try to properly work with that today. See what we can go from there. I was told by Her Majesty that she will not be joining us tonight for due to jet lag from her trip from Nashville and then Chicago. So, but she's back in the Queen of Nyx, back at the castle. So she is all groovy and fine now. So we're glad that she has landed safely and made it here back. Let's see. What else was there? There was something else. Senator, on my screen, the recording thing literally just started. Did yours start like a while ago? Like, what number is your recording thing on? It's doing that thing again.
It's already started recording for like a minute, but we've been on here like at least 10 minutes. The recording just started though. Just before you started talking.
Okay, well, just in case it's doing that again, welcome to day 2 of the Privy Council session of 2023. All right. So, because of our new procedural bylaws, I finally, for the first time, made agenda of the day on paper, virtual paper. So I'm gonna look into that. Let's everybody look at the agenda of the day. The first topic on the agenda of January 26, 2023. Okay, well, the first one says, talk to this American individual in executive session over an idea that he had. But before this session started, you told me that American individual, which means don't give out his name or who he is, you said that this American individual had an idea. What idea was that, Senator Bree?
Well, that idea was he actually thought of it since the last time we were talking about Nyx. He said, what if people traded aluminum for our currency? If they want our currency, they could trade it for the aluminum that we make them from.
Now, before the meeting, when we were talking about it in the executive chat room, you said traded aluminum soda cans for the currency or aluminum ingots for the currency?
Basically, anything aluminum. If it melts, like aluminum does.
Ingots would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because an aluminum ingot is more valuable than a soda can. So, and of course, I recently found out that it's 24 soda cans that makes 1 pound of aluminum, not 32. 32 makes a heavier pack of aluminum. So, because I'm pretty sure that chunk of metal I got is about 5 pounds of aluminum. Mm-hmm. So, which is a decently heavy aluminum. Mm-hmm. With a lot of impurities coming out of it, though, which is normal. They're soda cans. Okay. Well, it's not a bad idea. Of course, the reason I was against it at first was because I thought you meant soda cans. Because imagine, like a Nixie pound for every single soda can. My printer is poor. It's cheap. I wouldn't say crappy. It's been helping me out a lot. But it is tiny. So it ain't going to cover all those soda cans for every Nixie pound. Now, don't get me wrong. Our current printer to print out money can print out 4 Nixie pounds at a time. Sure, it's a lot. But, I got, it's my printer that I'm basically helping using it for the Nixie government. And because of that, I still have to use my own personal money to buy the ink and the classified specialty paper for it to make sure it keeps going. I don't have like a giant fax machine printer, which I did take a picture of and I'm going to keep that picture for the time being. So when we get to that point, then we can buy one for ourselves. But we're not there yet. We're not, even me, I'm not prepared to get one yet. So But no, that idea is good. I mean, Her Majesty thought it was a good idea too. Apparently, she had that idea in the first place, just hasn't told anybody about this yet. We're gonna have to get on her about that. It's like, if you got ideas, tell us. No. Oh, what else was there? Yeah. So no, I think it's a good idea. I just thought you meant soda cans because that's way too much for the printer. Now, aluminum ingots per Nixie pound, that can work because that's what it's equivalent to. 1 Nixie pound, especially an aluminum certificate anyway. An aluminum certificate Nixie pound is worth 1 pound of aluminum. So if we have 1 pound of aluminum, is someone, I don't know, gets a pound of aluminum and gets their, yeah, that is perfectly fine. But now, of course, we still have to do that math because the internet says that 24 soda cans equals to 1 pound of aluminum. I haven't tried yet. I tried 32, which makes even a heavier aluminum, which makes me realize, okay, that's not 1 pound of aluminum. That's more like 5 to 6 pounds of aluminum. So I'm way off. So it's like, what is 1 pound of aluminum? Is this 24 this time? So until I verify that it's actually 24 soda cans to make 1 pound of aluminum, then I'll consider the idea. But until then, we're not going to do that idea yet. But that is a good idea. I'll hold it to consideration. Keep that in mind. Put it on your notes or something. And bring it back up again if you want to talk about it again. But it's not a bad idea. I just don't think we're ready to do any of that yet. So all right, but that's not a bad idea. So let's see. What's the second agenda of the day? Since we covered this one, I'm gonna mark it red, meaning we done it. Okay. The second one, talk about what executive order should we put in place to enforce the NICS administrative regulations. All right, so let's go to regulations. I'll send you the first one. Now, some of these have language where you might think it doesn't need an executive order to enforce the law. Like basically how law enforcement works in a sense. It's like, how do we make our executive order tell our future police officers how to enforce this regulation? And not only that, like, let's see. Well, the one I sent you and everybody is the anti-gerrymandering regulation. That was passed in February 12th of 2022. According to NAR 1.1, it says once political parties exist in the Queendom and Nix, they shall not fabricate their own districts within the counties of the Queendom and Nix for political gain. Then 1.002, for all elections in local governments, if they decide to have representative districts, they must be content with the very first map they decide on to be the permanent districts for the counties. Once the decision is made and final, they can no longer change their districts unless the popular vote by the district. So, and of course, it's not just police, constables or police officers that can enforce this. It's the lawyers too. So I guess you could say, a federal attorney. We don't have one, but it would be cool to have one in the future. But like if we had a federal attorney, which works for the government and represents the federal government, that can be a law enforcement type deal too, because that'll be us charging them for violating this regulation. So what do you think? Like, how should I make an executive order to enforce NAR 1?
Well, I like what you have done so far, but at the moment, my mind just cannot come up with other ideas for it. So, I guess we could just make them up as we go with ideas and compile it together, see what we like to put on there.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, we don't have a federal attorney. It would be nice to have someone to be a lawyer. Of course, we might need lawyers in the future anyway, for U.S. purposes, but we need a lawyer for NICS laws too.
Right.
which of course can be anybody, because to be a Knicks lawyer, all you need to do is read the Knicks laws and make sure they're enforced and followed and abided. That's what a lawyer does.
Mhm.
We just don't have a government one, nor even private ones. So, but wouldn't that be nice though? Because our Constitution also says that if nobody has a lawyer can be appointed to the person. So it would suck if someone has a it would suck if someone in Knicks had a trial right now, because they'll have to represent themselves because we got no lawyers to represent them. So, well, I guess we'll get back to NER1, unless you want to try to figure out something for it. I mean, I really want to figure out what kind of executive order. How should we enforce this regulation?
Okay, and there's an idea that popped up in my head. Instead of lawyers, that which we don't have right now, but what we do have is the Queen. You know, like how back in the old days, if somebody committed a crime, they are forced to kneel in front of the Queen in the courtroom to pledge guilty or not guilty.
Depending on the country, yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking until we actually get a lawyer, we could do something like that to enforce the law.
Well, the thing is, the Queen's jurisdiction is not enforcing a law, it's our jurisdiction. So we can't force the Queen to enforce a law when it's not in her jurisdiction, a power. It's not in her power in the Constitution to do that. It's our power to do that.
Well, then she would be able to appoint from anyone from our jurisdiction to be able to help enforce the law that way. But they will still be in the courtroom to make the judgment, basically. With the Queen and the, how do you call it, representative of the law enforcement to bring that person to justice, basically.
Hmm.
I mean, at the moment, we really do not have a lawyer. That could be our like next
Nor
thing.
police officers. I mean, our only judicial system right now is the supremacy branch.
Mhm.
But I do have a constitutional amendment, another one, on the list right now for the legislature, to actually establish a judicial branch of government. So we'll have 4 branches of government, like we said we would. So I don't know if it'll pass or not, but if it does, then that means the Queen will no longer have judicial powers. So it'll be really up to everybody to see if it's too soon or not. But we'll see. But as of right now, the Queen is the only judicial power. So because of the supremacy branch having judicial powers. Okay, so let's read this regulation again. Let's read what it says specifically, and then figure out what can a police officer or a lawyer or even federal or even a executive officer can do to a political party or a local federal county official for violating these two regulation provisions or sections.
You know what that just reminded me of? The House bill that we passed, House Bill 6. That we passed.
What was that one?
Mine, remember?
Oh, where you got appointed as a county commissioner for the island?
Yeah. In a way, if I'm reading this right, that role is kind of similar to this. I mean, kind of, if you're looking at it in a specific way.
Right. I think I have an idea on what this executive order would be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna get an executive order ready to be written down. I'm gonna have to make a copy of an existing one because I don't have an executive order draft. I should make one. File, make a copy. Yeah, because this will be, because I should have made one last year for these regulations and I couldn't because, well, we were very busy. So, let's see, make a copy. Yes. And there's actually 4 regulations now, not 3, because the 4th one just passed on Thursday last week. So I'll have to actually write down the 4th regulation, and well, I have to find a bill that has that 4th regulation. So I'm gonna have to find that one. Let's see. All right. I would like the floor to remain silent until I figure out to find this information. I'll try to find it anyway. Here we go. It's not that one. So it's probably this one. No, it's not. It is not that one. It is this one. Well, this one's also got an amendment to NRS Chapter 7, but this one also, let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's good. It's in the same topic. I was afraid that it wouldn't be considered in the same topic, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, it says Part 2 of this bill, which is House Bill 4 of 2023. It says establish NAR 4 voters who did not change their voting registrations after August 31st will remain the same as they were before until the next election cycle. So, like, that's literally what that said. That's all it is. Voters who did not change their voting registrations after August 31st will remain the same as they were before until the next election cycle. So the title of this regulation would probably be none other than, oh, I don't know, elections. We'll call it, yeah, I'll title this regulation regarding nationwide elections. Like, no, national and local elections. There we go. Because that's basically what it is. Okay. Let me get rid of those. Go. And this is regulation number 4. Oh, wait, hold on. This is executive order, so this is different. Okay, so I need to make another regulation. So I need to make a copy of this. Let's see. What was it? It was January 16th, right? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. There we go. And then change that to a 4.001. Got the date, got the main title, and we're good to go. All right. Now NAR4 has been officially made. Okay. Alrighty. Yay. Let's get rid of this real quick. Okay. Okay, so we don't. Okay, so no, this executive order was supposed to go to the first regulation. So I'm already way too far ahead. So let's see, regarding the prohibition. Oh, hold on. Regarding the enforcement of the prohibition of gerrymandering. There we go. Okay, so let's go to NAR1. Read what it says once applicable already exists. Okay, so not only that, there's statutes for crimes and punishments. So we should look up NRS Chapter 5 to see what the punishments are for violating a regulation, assuming we have one. Let's see. Here we go. Violating regulations. Section 2 through A2. Let's see. Depending on the constitutional amendment that had been violated. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, that's a typo. All right, depending on the regulations that have been violated, it should be declared as one of the following misdemeanor classes. Class A misdemeanor is the highest misdemeanor given to an individual or business convicted of violating enacted regulations, which will resort to a punishment by statute and authorized by the judicial system, as long as the fines do not exceed $20, unless there are multiple counts on the person or business being convicted of such. Businesses shall be mandated under statute to follow guidelines provided by the unicameral and enforced by the Prime Minister for 3 years. All individuals shall serve 1 year of incarceration in a jail facility where the crime was committed. And a Class D misdemeanor is the lowest misdemeanor class or misdemeanor given to an individual or business convicted of violating enacted regulations, which will result to a punishment by statute and authorized by judicial as long as the fines do not exceed $20, unless there are multiple counts on the person. Business convicted as such. Businesses shall be mandated under statute to follow guidelines provided by the unicameral enforced by the Prime Minister for 1 year, and individuals shall serve only 3 days in jail facility where the crime was committed. All right, so, and it says depending on the regulations that have been violated. So it's really hard to tell, but technically gerrymandering doesn't necessarily, I mean, it's bad. It's absolutely stupidly bad to have in any country, but technically it does not have a victim for high enough to probably be considered even a high crime violation. And not only that, it's not a physical crime, you know what I'm saying? It's more of a political crime in a sense. So it can have political victims. Therefore, it has the potential to violate constitutional rights. So therefore, I will probably enforce it. I mean, assuming the legislature, says something else about it, right? Unless someone makes a law about it saying, okay, Prime Minister, you're going to do, when you charge that person for this, they got to be charged with this. It's like, okay. Because we haven't necessarily, maybe that's the thing the legislature needs to talk about, is specify and codify what crime will be labeled as a misdemeanor and a felony. So we need to That's probably something the legislature needs to talk about. But at the moment, just to, help the law enforcement deal, I would probably, in my opinion, and since I'm the law enforcement officer, I will probably count it as a class D misdemeanor for let's see, what was it? Let's see, once political racist. Okay, yeah. So no, both sections of NAR 1 should definitely be a class D misdemeanor. Absolutely. In accordance to NRS 5 section 2. Yeah, NRS chapter 5 section 2, which is violating regulations. So, yes. That we will do. Yes. Okay. So, where's my executive order? Here it is. Okay, now how to do it. So, what I would put in my executive order, if a political party based in the Queendom of Nyx violates Nyx administrative regulation sections, wait, hold on. Nyx administrative regulation chapter 1, sections 1 and 2 shall be charged. Hold on. Okay. Prosecuted, because it is an organization. Because political parties are organizations, so prosecuted would probably be the right word. Shall be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law in this following manner. All right, 1. Political parties that has violated NAR 1, NAR chapter 1. Yeah, I gotta go full scale. I gotta go full scale thing on this. 1, sections 1 and 2 will be given a week notice to appear in court to stand trial for violating NAR 1. Actually, no. Okay, yeah, no, stand on trial, because that's just repeating the first sentence. Okay. If the political party that has been prosecuted and summoned to court does not show up for court, or for trial, really, the nearest or appointed law enforcement officers will be Let's see. Will be sent to the current locations or the residence of the political party official members, not including political party voters, unless some or a few are involved in violating the NICS administrative regulation. The level of violating NICS administrative regulation, chapter 1, sections 1 and 2. Shall be labeled as a Class D misdemeanor. And if convicted, it shall be properly enforced. There we go. Okay. Yeah, because violating those two sections is a Class D misdemeanor, and I'll put a constant thing in there, because like if they keep doing it, like it says, multiple accounts. So if you keep on doing it, right, your money is going to go up. Okay, so like you can get charged. We do have a double jeopardy thing, so we don't have double jeopardy. Double jeopardy is not allowed. However, if you have multiple counts of the same crime, you can still be convicted of that, because you're being convicted of the same crime on the same day, right? You're on the same day, like multiple counts. Like you got 5 counts of gerrymandering. Like we can do that in one day. It's not just, oh, you committed this crime 5 times, but we're only going to treat it as one. That's not how it's going to work. So I am going to enforce this, and I'm going to decide the count. Let's see. Chapter 5, it says, it doesn't necessarily say how many. Yeah, it just says multiple counts. So I can literally put, I am going to be fair, but I'm not going to be dumb either. So if done more than 3 times, I will level that crime as a Class A misdemeanor, and I will enforce the law appropriately in that manner. If the political party official members are charged 3 times for the 3 times for violating NICS Administrative Chapter 1, in 3 counts, it shall appropriately be deemed as a Class A misdemeanor, and the law shall be enforced appropriately. enforced appropriately. Oh, what's the date? January 26th. Okay. Hey. There we go. All right, Senator McGuire, would you like to read my draft for Executive Order 7?
Let me see if I have it.
No, I literally just made it. Do you want to see it?
Oh, sure, definitely.
All right, here it is.
All right.
Yep. It says Executive Order from the Prime Minister of the Queen of Manix regarding the enforcement of the prohibition of gerrymandering. I, Austin Nelson, Prime Minister of the Queen of Manix, pursuant to the authority granted under Article 2 of the Constitution, do hereby write and sign this executive order. If a political party based in the Queen of Manix violates Nix Administrative Regulation, Chapter 1, Sections 1 and 2, shall be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law in this following manner. Political parties that has violated Nix Administrative Regulation, Chapter 1, Sections 1 and 2, will be given a week notice to appear in court to stand trial. 2. The political party that has been prosecuted and summoned to court does not show up for trial. The nearest or appointed law enforcement officers will be sent to the current locations of the residence of political party official members, not including political party voters, unless some or a few are involved in violating the Nix Administrative Regulation. Part 3, the level of violating Nix Administrative Regulation, Chapter 1, Sections 1 and 2 shall be labeled as a Class D misdemeanor. If convicted, it shall be properly enforced. And 4, if the political party official members are charged for violating Nix Administrative Regulation, Chapter Sections 1 and 2 and 3 counts, it shall appropriately be deemed as a Class A misdemeanor, and the law shall be enforced appropriately.
No, looks like it's very well put together from what I can see.
I feel like I screwed up somewhere.
I don't think you have yet.
Okay, there's a typo. So technically, political parties cannot. It's kind of impossible for them to violate Section 2, but Section 1 is what they can violate, and then we have to, punish them for violating that. But the Section 2 part should be going towards the local government officials.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to make a Part 2 for that on this executive order, and then Executive Order 7 will be official this time. So let's do that. Let's see. So instead, I'm going to make these letters instead of numbers. There we go. Now, however, though, for the local government officials that violate Section 2 of NAR 1, it will still be a Class D misdemeanor. Both of these regulations will definitely be labeled as a Class D misdemeanor, and if multiple counts, definitely a Class A, if not a felony. It shouldn't really be a felony anyway. But you never know. Okay, so let's make Part 2 now. Okay. Part 2. If a local, federal, county government decides to, what's the word? The only word I could think of is single-handedly, so I'll use that word. Single-handedly decide to change their district map, local district maps, or really map, but maps, district maps without the consent of the people the following methods for the enforcement of NAR, Next Administrative Regulation, Chapter 1, Section 2. Shall be as follows. Okay. The local, federal, county officials will be given a notice, week notice, to appear in court to defend or really for defense against prosecution for violating Next Administrative Regulation, Chapter 1. This order includes all elected local, federal, county officials that are currently seated. If a local, federal, county official or officials, plural, does not appear in court for the trial, an officer of the law will be sent to retrieve the local, federal, county official to be delivered to the courthouse. I'll go with courthouse. Why not? Violating Section 2 of Next Administrative Regulation, Chapter 1. Is deemed a Class D misdemeanor. Multiple violations of Section 2 will be deemed a Class A misdemeanor. But the only issue is if they are elected into office, I can't just arrest them while they're in office. So that's going to be the other issue there. Okay, so I literally just thought of that. Oh, okay. Well, if that is the case, my executive, well, no, hold on a minute. You know what? No. We're not Queen of Nix is not the United States. And the federal counties don't have their own sovereign constitutions to protect any of their local officials from arrest. An actual arrest of an actual crime, anyway. So therefore, they do not need an impeachment. However, it will cause a little bit of turmoil in the federal county because one of the people that they elected is no longer working. So, with that said, we will probably have to, we're still going to do misdemeanors and whatever, but I'll let the judge decide on, okay, you're going to be charged with a misdemeanor now. And because of you being an elected official, we're going to see, what to do and whatever. So I'll let the judge decide on that part. My job is just to bring him in. So, okay. All right, there we go. That is part 2. Yeah, excuse me. But yep, that's part 2. All right. There. My 7th executive order is done, and I'm just going to pretend that I'm signing it. Executive order 7. Actually, hold on. No, I lied. Okay, it looks like it's still us attending. So because I lied, I'm not going to sign this executive order. What I am going to do is I move to vote that executive order 7 should be signed by me and enacted as an executive order. So we're going to do a roll call vote of my Privy Council advisors or senators, see what they think about it. So since only Senator Bree is here at this time, Senator Bree, do you have any statement, comments, opinions, and what is your vote on Executive Order 7?
Opinion-wise, I like what we got written down so far. I don't know if we need to make anything else at the top of my head, but I vote aye.
All right. Anybody else? Voting aye? Actually, hold on. I might have to read the procedural bylaws because I think that might need a second. Give me a second. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, technically this would be an introducing. This will be an introduction. That's the word. This should be an introduction. So I'm introducing the 7th executive order, and I need a second for it to be introduced. Do I have a second? Does anybody second to introduce executive order 7? Anybody second?
Aye. I second the motion.
Okay. Senator Bree seconds the motion. Do I have any objections? No? Okay. No objections? Okay. All right. All right. In that case, we will move forward with Executive Order 7. All right. We already have our opinions on it, which is okay. It's our first time doing Robert's Rule of Order, so we're going to keep practicing with it. It's all good. I've already got your opinion on it, and I've already heard your vote. So, okay, so your vote is yes on passing Executive Order 7?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? No? I only got one advisor in my 3-man Privy Council of Advisors? Okay, apparently. All right, since you're my only advisor, if you think the bill's okay, I think the bill's okay. I wish the other two were here to give me their opinions, but they're not. I thought Senator Ross was going to be here. He's probably still driving. So, we'll let him drive safely wherever he's going. Hopefully he'll make it to the meeting later. All right. In that case, I'm going to sign Executive Order 7. and enact it and activate it and whatever the word is. So yeah. All right, I will now officially sign Executive Order 7. All right, let's move on to the next regulation because that's still the agenda of the day. So that was all of that was Regulation Chapter 1. Now let's go to Regulation Chapter 2. So, all right, so this one's good. I'm going to make a copy of this one again. So this will be my 8th executive order. Copy. Now we'll take this away. And then, okay. All right. This one doesn't necessarily have a title on the inside of it. It does have a title, but it's more on the head of the document than actually on the document itself. So I'm sending you that. So NARA 2 is about the Treasury, and there's literally only one regulation section on it. That's literally it. So it says the money for the items bought for the purpose of serving the government and equipment NICS must come from the Treasury. And I am pretty positive that none of my executive orders I currently have involve that. So, let's see. Let me go to my Robert's Rule of Order here, make sure I'm doing everything right. Actually, it's another introduction. So I'm introducing NAR2 to the floor for discussion. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All right, we are now in discussion of NAR2. All right. Now back to talking again. Okay, so Senator Bree, I'm gonna give you the floor. How should I have a lawyer or an officer of the law to enforce this regulation?
In relation to the Treasury that comes with this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here.
It says the money for the items bought for the purpose of serving the government equipment NICS must come from the Treasury. So it does sound vague. I won't lie to you. I'm the one that made it, but it does sound vague. But it is meant for government. It is meant for government officials. So if you're a government official, technically you shouldn't be spending your own personal. Well, you technically should, because you're getting paid by the government. You're getting paid by the Treasury, but we're not. We're not getting paid by the Treasury right now. So I mean, unless it's Nixie pounds, we're getting paid in Nixie pounds. But in our current situation, we're not getting paid in US dollars, and that's what our Treasury is filled with right now. So until our Nixie pound actually starts getting a value thing going, that's all we got. So but yeah, go on. I'm interrupted you, but go on. How should I enforce the law?
It could definitely let's see here. As long as it's NICS related stuff that the government can profit from, I think it should be okay. It depends on like how much you're spending and what kind of stuff you're getting that would involve NICS. But if they break that rule, I figure out it could be written off as a demeanor, and maybe the first time they'll get a warning, but if they get a second time, I guess we could fire them from their job as in their role of NICS. Basically, maybe this is me just guessing right here. My mind went blank. But that's the idea that kind of popped up in my head a little bit.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Because again, it's I won't lie to you, even though I'm the one that made this regulation when it was a bill, it is vague. I'm not gonna lie to you. It wasn't vague to me at first. It is vague to me now. So now I'm seeing the vagueness. But literally all it says, the money for the items bought for the purpose of serving the government and the Queen of Nyx must come from the treasury. That's all it says. So, but of course, I'm probably going to have to propose another bill to amend to that specific section and say government officials and not everybody. So
maybe it needs to be a whole lot more specific.
Yeah, I did not realize how vague it was when I passed it, but or when we passed it.
I was thinking that to start off, if anybody like abuses the power that was given with the idea of the treasury. Like I said, they could be written off with a demeanor as a warning. And we just kind of like level up that level of warning if they kept doing it instead of listening to us. And in the end, if it gets big enough, we could just fire them from their official government job.
Oh, right. I was meant to continue what I was saying. No, so again, that's a good idea, but what I was trying to continue and my mind went blank and I totally forgot about what I was continuing on. That is a good idea. However, because of how vague that section is, everything you said, we can't really do because of the vagueness of that section in the regulation. So here's what I think we should do. I want to know if you're okay with this. Because it has to go by your advice. I mean, I don't have to follow it, but I wanted to go by my whole council's advice, not just you. No offense. I wish the other two were here to give me more opinions, but apparently they don't want to come to work. So, but it's fine. Well, that's okay because all three of you are no longer going to be in the legislature real soon anyway. Surprise. Well, maybe some of you. We'll see what happens, but no. Okay, so what I think we should do is I'm going to make my executive order, my 8th one, say that whenever a government official spends money on an item for the Queen of Nyx, either me or an executive officer, which could be you, could be Ivar, could be Ross, if me or another executive officer spends, like if you spent money on something or Ross spent money on something, I spend money on something, then we go to Then we go to the Queen. No, we do not go to the Queen. We do go to the future House of Representatives. We do go to the future House of Representatives. That is what it's going to be called now, by the way. We do have to go to the future House of Representatives. Here's why. Because it'll have to be included as a budget bill. Because we're spending money from the Treasury. It will be considered spending, but it's actually going to be reimbursement. Because if you're spending, say, like, Senator McGuire, say if you bought me another gavel, or you bought the Queen another gavel, or you just bought the Queen a fancier crown than what we gave her, okay? You bought that for the sole purpose of our Queen, the monarch, having a fancier crown. Therefore, that is serving the government. Therefore, it's for the cause of the Queen of Nyx. Therefore, the money of that... What is that on my table? That distracts me. You should be reimbursed from the Treasury for the money you spent on that fancy crown for the queen. So that's how it should be enforced. So I'm gonna basically make this executive order real simple. What it's gonna do is gonna tell all executive officers, which is me, you, Ross, and Ivar, to basically, if we spent money out of our pocket for the purpose of serving the Queen of Nyx and the government of the Queen of Nyx, the money must come from the treasury. Now, say if you went out and bought groceries, you bought food, you bought drinks, you bought McDonald's, you bought clothes, all that stuff. If it's for you, the treasury ain't gonna reimburse you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing that for Nyx. You're doing that for yourself. That's totally different. But if you're doing it for the Queen of Nyx, then the treasury can reimburse you. So I'm planning on making an executive order like that. I think that's how I should make this executive order. What do you think? Do you think it's a good idea?
Honestly, if we kind of rephrase it around to where it's not as vague, we could actually probably make it work out more. Because what you have written there has so many loopholes just from how vague it is.
Right. Well, that's the thing though, right? Even though the regulation itself, is very vague, the enforcement of that regulation doesn't have to be vague. Because I'm the top law enforcement officer of the land, so I get to enforce this specific regulation in a manner where it doesn't go overboard. So that's why I suggested that. Now, however, we can't change the regulation. We can only change it by a bill. So we have to introduce it to the House of Representatives. So until then, what that regulation says is what we got. So then we have to enforce it the way it is until it changes. So yeah. Yeah. So I think what I thought would be a good idea would go towards the executive order. So that's what I'm gonna write down now. Okay, so I don't know if I'm actually wording this correctly. So in the future, if it sounds like if it sounds off, then I hope someone would tell me so I can change it because I actually don't know if I'm wording this right. So basically, what the executive order says is executive order regarding the enforcement of money being spent from the Treasury in the expense of Nixie government officials. Alrighty, and then of course I'll delete all these. There we go. Okay. What did I say it was gonna be? It was like oh, that's right. If a government official in any branch of government spends money out of their pocket for the purpose of serving the Queendom of Nyx as a whole, or just the Nixie federal government, shall be a report to the House of Representatives to request a reimbursement for their monetary service from the National Treasury. Here we go. That sounds good. And let's see. The free items bought for the purpose of serving the government. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's going to be any punishment. We just got to make sure that it happens. Because this is how you properly get reimbursed from the Treasury, and we're just making sure it's enforced in that manner. So not anyone could just go out and yell, hey, I want to be paid my money back, you know, all that stuff. So, I mean, because there's two things in there. If you bought stuff for Nix out of pocket, and if you don't want any money in return from the Treasury, that's your choice. Mm-hmm. If you do, you have to do it in this manner. Now, what if someone doesn't do in this manner? Well, that brings the question, what are they going to do? It's either they'll suck it up and get over it. They just spent money for the cause, which they should be happy for. Or they go to the House of Representatives and request a reimbursement. What else would they do? I mean, the House of Representatives is going to reimburse you. It's going to happen. You're part of the government, and you should be, and the Treasury is the one that should be spent money on, not necessarily money out of pocket. As long as it serves the Queen of Nix as a whole and the government a little bit, the Treasury should come out of that. But no, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess. I guess in my executive order, we could write down. Well, no, it'll have to be a statute. It'll be more binding that way if it was a statute. So, Okay. Well, then the House of Representatives will be the ones to decide if what they bought is really for the Queen of Nix as a whole or the Nixon government. So they'll be the ones to decide that. So they'll be the ones to decide if that person's going to get, if that government official is going to get reimbursed or not. So you know what? I think my executive order is fine. That's literally all it says. Okay, so yep, it's just got one section. Woohoo! That's all it's got. All right, yay! Alrighty. All right, I am now introducing Executive Order 8 to the floor. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All right, Executive Order 8 is now on the floor. Senator Bree, you have the floor to give me your opinion on Executive Order 8. Do you need a copy of it, or do you think what I said is all you need to hear?
Basically all I need to hear. To be honest, all of it is, yes, very vague. It kind of has a lot of loopholes to it. But if we reinforce it to where we can make sure nobody tries the loopholes, I think that would probably be workable with, basically. So, I mean, we could definitely give it a shot to see how it goes.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. I'm gonna read the Robert's Rule of Orders real quick. Where's the bylaws? Here we go. Let's see. I don't see any issues. Nope. Okay, so In that case, I move to a vote on the signing and on the advice if we should pass or decline Executive Order number 8. So, Senator Bree, what's your advice vote?
Well,
Should
I kind of
Executive
want to say
Order...
nay, but I also want to say yay. So, I guess my answer will be yay for now.
Okay. Oh, wait. I think I was supposed to get a second. Can I have a second for that?
I second the motion.
Okay. We were supposed to have a second on that. Okay. Pass all that. Of course, Senator Ross ain't here to give me opinions. Senator Ivar ain't here to give me opinions. So you're dealing with giving me opinion. And I believe Executive Order 8 is okay to go through, and I'm going to sign it into enactment. So in that case, I hereby declare Executive Order 8 to be signed in enactment, and it will be enforced. Alrighty, let's move on. We're still on the regulations, so let's go to Chapter 3.
All right.
Okay. I'm sending you Chapter 3 right now. All right, so Chapter 3 involves the different types of currencies that the Kingdom of Nyx recognizes as legal tender.
Oh, we're already actually kind of enacting this because of what we're doing with the smelter and getting our currency put together.
Well, hold on. You don't have the floor yet, Senator Bree. Hold on. You don't have the floor yet.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine. No, let me talk first. So, oh crap, I gotta introduce it. All right, I'm introducing NAR 3. Can I have a second? Any second. Can I have a second on introducing NAR 3?
I second the motion.
All right, Senator Bree seconds. Okay. Any objections? None? Cool. All right. Okay, so back in discussion on that. So NAR Chapter 3 is basically about the other currencies that we use other than the Nixie pound. So we got the Bahamian dollar, the Belize dollar, the Eastern Caribbean dollar, Singapore dollar, the Swiss franc, the Cayman dollar, gold backs, silver backs, United States dollar, copper backs, and aluminum backs, which universally those two universally don't necessarily exist, but we're going to make them exist because we're going to be the ones to do them. So that's just what they're going to call it. It's basically gold backs and silver backs. That's exactly what they are. Aluminum and copper, they're not as valuable, but you can back a currency with it. So, but still works. And then of course Section 2 to Section 2B. Who gets to decide what currency to use? People and businesses can voluntarily decide what currency to use. Businesses can decide which currency they will allow for the customers to use. They cannot allow or use more than one type of the listed currency. So every business, small one. Now, gig economies are different. Like if you're doing a side gig and whatever, you can really take any kind of currency, and the person can give you any kind of currency. That's fine. But exchange currencies appropriately. So I think in this regulation, oh yeah, we might actually have a hardcore law enforcement on this one. Actually, we might have to. Well, here's why. Yeah, no, this executive order might actually be long. One, we definitely have to dog down on counterfeit on all those listed currencies.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely gonna have to dog down on that. So that will be considered fraud, which is a victim crime. So because counterfeiting is fraudulent, so that is a crime with a victim. Okay. So basically all these things right here. Now the Nixie pound is included in this list. But since that's like our official currency, other than those, we don't have to put it in that list because it was already our official currency. Those are all of those things listed are secondary currencies. So that's why the Nixie pound's not on there. But anyway, so definitely on the first part of Executive Order 9 should definitely be triple down on looking for counterfeits of every single one of those listed currencies, making sure they're absolutely real. Now those currencies, most of them come from central banks of the country of their origin. Oh, hello. Hey, Senator Ross. Welcome to the session.
Oh, I hit traffic on the way here.
No, it's understandable. You made it. It's all good. We've actually covered a lot, so it's all good. We'll catch. I'm sure you saw the chat room. We'll catch you up later, or you can just watch the video and then you'll get caught up. All right. So, Senator Ross, we are. This is the first meeting that we're using the Robert's Rule of Order. So that means there's a lot of procedures. So I definitely recommend, if you can, study or at least read the procedural bylaws that we have that we're going to use in every meeting. I sent it in the chat. I don't know if you got it or not, if you ever saw it at all.
Which chat?
Should be the executive one, but I think I sent you one individually. So either or. I mean, if not, Senator Bree can send one to you, or I can. Either or.
Let me check to see if you sent it to me first.
No, I just sent it to the chamber chat room.
You beat me to it. I was about to do that.
You've got to be quicker than that. No. That is copyright. Do not do anything to me, YouTube. All right. Anyway. No, that was a reference off of a commercial. So so just in case YouTube acts stupid and try to block us from posting our meeting, I gotta do that crap now. Ooh, my throat's getting dry. I guess I need something to drink, I guess. Okay. Wow, it's already 10. Okay. Well, I won't lie. I was gonna do a recess until I realized what time it was. So let's see what we can do or get to before that. All right. So anyway, back to where we was. So Senator Ross, we are on the discussion of NAR Chapter 3. It's a regulation. I'm pretty sure I sent that in the executive chat. So that's the one with like the different types of currencies that are our secondary currencies. And then, of course, the second section regards to who gets to decide to use it. So, all right. But yeah, after reading that regulation, I mean, obviously, I can already see that we need to triple down on searching for counterfeits of those currencies in our nations, so the counterfeits won't get into our circulation. Definitely, I would definitely charge that as a felony. I don't know what felony yet, but I would definitely charge that as a felony. Let's see, where is it?
Before we can continue,
What is that?
can I ask a question before we continue?
There's a specific saying that you have to say for you to ask that
I
question.
know, I'm on like the first step 1. That says to adjourn, right? Because I've never even seen that word ever spelled out, and I'm curious.
Okay, so here's what you say if you need information. You just say request information, and it says the speaker can be interrupted. So if you need to interrupt me so you can have information, just say that word I just said. Point of information. Point of information, yeah. So just straight up say it. Just straight up say it out loud, and then I'll get to you.
Okay, point of information.
Yeah. Yes, Senator Ross?
That says adjourn, right? Because on procedures, number 1,
Okay.
like to
Procedure.
adjourn. Is that adjourn or?
Yes, adjourn, like ending the meeting. Yes, that's how you spell adjourn. Yes.
Okay, because I've never seen that word actually spelled out in my entire life, so I was just making sure because that was like.
Yeah, I know.
Spelled
Yeah, it has been a while. Yeah. No, that's perfectly fine. Is that all?
So far, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, no problem. All right. Okay, so like I said, triple down on the counterfeits of those currencies. Absolutely, that needs to be tripled down. That is a victim crime, like I said before. The other thing, there was something else. What was it? Oh, right. What was I gonna do to businesses? Individuals are different because you got gig economy and then you got gig economy. Now businesses, however, they need to decide what money they're gonna take in and all that stuff. So like if let's say, for example, I start an Apple store and Ross, you started an orange store. I'm selling apples, you're selling oranges, because why not? Then I decide to use, say, for the sake of argument, we're not going to use the Nixie Pound. For some whatever reason, we make a business and we're not going to use the Nixie Pound. We don't know why, we just did it. Okay, so, like, for example, I'm going to use the Cayman dollar, and you're going to use the Eastern Caribbean dollar. That's the currencies you want to use for your business. So that means that's the money you'll accept, and that's the money that the customers have to give you to pay for your products. So let's say that happens. Let's say that happens. How can we enforce the regulation to ensure that my Apple store and your orange store doesn't use any other currency than the ones that we just said that we're using in our example? Senator Ross, you have the floor.
Are you asking a question like
Yes.
between one store uses one currency, the other store uses another, and let's say it's like your store uses the Nixie Pound and mine uses the American dollar?
Yeah. Now, how do we enforce the law to make sure that I go from the Nixie Pound, but then I decide to secretly have or secretly use the Bahamian dollar so I can get some of that extra currency money without law enforcement knowing? How do we, if we caught them doing that, how should we enforce the law to charge, arrest, and prosecute? And this is towards a business, so it will technically be a group of people.
I would imagine needing to select only 2 types of currencies the nation should use at most. So I think there is one nation that actually uses 2 different currencies. I don't remember what they're called, so don't hold me to that. But obviously, there has to be some kind of exchange rate between those. So for an owner to even remotely do that, to use multiple currencies instead of just one or two, the two main ones, it'd kind of be dumb for him to do that, honestly.
Well, that is true. However, the regulation specifically says that the businesses can only use one currency. And in my example, the business is not allowed by law to use a second one. So if they want to use another currency instead, they have to switch their currencies up. So they have to switch it. They can't just use two at once. Like, not even in transition. They literally have to drop one currency and move to another. I mean, they can transition, but they can't. They have, like, they'll basically probably have to close for a while, which shouldn't be a thing. But if they have to, I don't know why they would have to, but that's all I could think of. If they close their doors just so they could transition from one currency to another, then that's fine because they're transitioning. But they cannot, by law, which it says it on NAR 3, they cannot use more than one currency in that list. So they got to choose the Nixie pound or the dollar, or like that word "or" is in all of them, not "and." It's all "or." So they got to use one of those listed currencies. Not two, not three. They can literally use one. But if a store decides to secretly, illegally use two, like say the store is using the Cayman dollar, but it's secretly using the Bahamian dollar. And what do I mean by that? I mean by accepting, because obviously in the future, if we do pass a mandatory sales tax, which is the fairest tax out of all of them, even though taxation is still theft, but it is the fairest tax out of all of them. If sales tax does become a thing, we're definitely going to have to check that business tax records, see how much money they made, and we see the type of currency they made out of that. So, we see, all right, how many currencies did you make? And it better just say one type of currency. So, we should be seeing one number, but all those currencies are different. So it's going to pop up as a different currency every time. We're definitely going to have a system where it says, okay, there's a bunch of Bahamian dollars, and hold on, there's a system that says a Cayman dollar. Hold on a minute. So, that's where we'll get them right there. It's it wouldn't necessarily be tax evasion, but it'll be something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how should we enforce the law to ensure businesses or a business owner, depending on how big the business is, how should we enforce the law to make sure businesses or business owners does not use two or more currencies than the ones they've already chosen?
So by that logic, if saying the nation only uses paper and coin currency, it would be very easy to track who's doing what. But to even remotely enforce that law, you're definitely going to have a police officer, not just a
prosecutor.
No, a police officer to enforce that law. So, and that would also mean searching through people's stuff just to find if they're using that currency, if they're using it as paper and coin.
Well, we'll probably be searching the business. I don't know about the place of residence. If we would search any residence, it would definitely probably be the business owner. Other than that, I don't think we have to really check everybody there because here's the thing though, right? If a business, and this is logic too, assuming they will follow it, if a business chooses a currency, that means they pay their employees with that currency too, because that's how their employees are going to get paid. So that means if you work for a business that is using Bahamian dollars, the employees are going to get paid Bahamian dollars, because that's logic. So, so with that said, that also means the police officer will have to get a warrant to go talk to go interview every single employee that works for that same business, and then of course interview the business owner, and of course get a warrant because we had a suspicion that you were using more than one currency. The only way to do that is really get a warrant, which is one of our amendments. So, but yeah, definitely get a warrant to search all the employees and the business owner and the business property itself and all of its locations, assuming it has more than one location. So, do you think that's a good idea, Senator Ross?
I don't know. I'm kind of still trying to decide on that one.
I know that one is a hard one. I would like the minute I saw this regulation, even though it's like small, the executive order I'm planning on making for it is probably going to be long than I thought. So, all right. So while you're thinking on that, Senator McGuire, what do you think about how should we enforce the law to make sure no businesses uses more than one currency?
That is definitely the tricky part. I do not have an answer for that. But I also do have an answer prior from the currency thing. Like to make sure the currencies are not counterfeit. My store has this machine where we would do deposits when we clear out our registers and organize them more, so it's not like it has a whole lot more money. If the machine does not take the dollars, it's counterfeit, which means we do not take it if the machine doesn't take it. But if it takes it, it's real.
Okay. So you're saying we need to have some kind of machine system to where it can read an actual bill from a counterfeit.
Kind of like banks or stuff like that. My store is a gas station that I work in. We use this machine. So far, we haven't run into any counterfeit money as far as I know of.
Which is good.
As
far as I'm aware, now I don't know if you two saw any of this or not. I don't know I think the machines of today can actually read what's counterfeit. It's the people that are having a hard time reading what's counterfeit. Do you think that's accurate, Senator Ross?
I mean, yeah, that's a possibility.
Okay, because it looks like people are having trouble with circulation issues because we actually had a very bad counterfeit circulation in Eminence, Kentucky recently. I think it was like last year or the year before. And there was a lot of counterfeit money. Like the Federal Bureau of Investigation of the U.S. was all over the place over that counterfeiting issue. So it was absolutely nuts. But Eminence is a small town. It's not a big city. I mean, it ain't that small. I drove through it. It's decently sized, but it's a small town nonetheless. But it's like, why would you bring counterfeit money to a small town like that? There's nothing there that's expensive. So, like, I mean, yeah, sure, they probably have a tourist thing going on, but I mean, not everything there is as ridiculously expensive as it is in a big city like Louisville or Covington or even Lexington. So, I don't know, but anyway. So, and I think because of that, I think circulation of counterfeit dollars did end up being in a small town like that because there was probably a cashier. They didn't have an ATM machine or they didn't have a card machine, so everything had to be paid in cash, which most small towns do. So they probably had that issue, and I'm pretty sure that's actually what happened. There was a store that only took cash, and the cashier didn't realize that the money was counterfeit until someone found out that it was counterfeit. And then, of course, someone called the FBI over that. So, yeah, it was crazy. But no, I figured this regulation is going to be hard to enforce. We just need to figure out how to work it. So, I didn't think this one was going to be complicated to figure out. So, because of time, I'm actually going to let's see if I can find a Robert's Rule of Order for this. Let's see. So I move to postpone. I move that we postpone this topic until we figure out what we can do on how to enforce this law.
I think that's a whole meeting in itself.
I know it really is. Do we have a second on postponing this this topic until then?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Senator Ross is seconded. Let's see what else does it say on here. It says, all right, it is debatable. So are there any objections to it? No. Okay. No objection. All right. It requires a majority vote to do so. So, all right, I move to a vote. So, Senator McGuire, what's your vote on postponing the topic of NAR 3?
I vote aye.
Senator Ross.
Aye.
All right. That's 2 out of 3 senators, so that's the majority. So, the topic of discussion of NAR 3 is hereby postponed until we definitely figure out on a later day on how to figure out how to make an executive order for the specific regulation. All right, let's move on. Senator Ross, did you get the agenda of the day? Now that I do know that I put in the executive chat.
Well, I gotta turn on brightness. The not NAR currency. No, we just did that one. The Privy Council.
That might be it, yeah. Privy Council agenda.
January 26, 2023. Hey, bless you.
Thank you.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh, that's the bylaws I sent. Hold on. Oh wait, did you find it? I think you found it. Yeah, I heard that. You said the date on it. Did you find it?
26, 2023 agenda of the day.
Yep, that's it. All right. So we're still on the second part of that whole agenda. So all right. Because we are down to the last regulation to talk about. And since I'm in charge of the meeting, we are going to go a little bit over time. So we can catch up a little bit probably on the third topic, and then we'll see where we go from there. So we're gonna do a little bit of an overtime. All right, so we're still gonna do Executive Order 9 since I didn't make an executive order for the last regulation yet. Before I talk, I'm introducing NAR 4 to the floor. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All right. Any objections to introducing NICS Administrative Regulation 4 to the floor of discussion? Seeing none, the motion is moved forward. All right. Assuming it does not need a vote. No, it requires a majority vote. Okay. All right. All in favor of introducing Nick's Administrative Regulation 4 to the floor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. All right, let's talk about NAR4. Okay. All right, I'm sharing that now to you guys. This was our first regulation of 2023, so it's brand new. That's the right one. Was that the right one? Yes, it is. Okay. And all it is about it's another short one. It's all it is about national and local elections regulations. That's basically what it's called. All it has is one section. All it says is voters who did not change their voting registrations after August 31st will remain the same as they were before until the next election cycle. Now, to be honestly fair, I have no idea how to enforce this. Like, I don't think there's even any punishment of any other than trying to fraudulently register to vote. That's all I can think of that would be considered a crime that we can triple down on. What do you think, Senator Ross? You have the floor.
For the register to vote, we could probably get away with having someone come physically into the fuck is it called? The courthouse. We'll use it as a courthouse because obviously we're going to have one of those anyway. Physically come into the courthouse. They use their literal fingerprints to get a voter registration card, and it's a one and done type of thing. I think America was actually trying to go to that, but every Democrat was like, "Nah, let's not do that." But that's my idea.
Well, I can understand why. I mean, the government is getting someone's fingerprints, so I mean, it's understandable why. So even I'm skeptical of it, but I can see the reasoning why it's a good thing because it helps with registry. But well, I don't know. NAR4 looks interesting. Changed their voting registration. August 31st will remain the same as you were. Okay, so all I could think of to enforce this is fraud. That's literally it. Cause let's say about that courthouse you mentioned, Senator Ross. If someone were to go to that courthouse and the guy says, hey, I need to like register to vote and whatever, but it's already past the deadline. But the guy was showing, evidence that, I tried to do this and it won't happen and whatever. But it turns out to be fraudulent or something like that. Or maybe the voting registration that person already had is fraudulent because he never really registered to vote. He just happens to have a voting registry. Which all voting registries should be documented anyway. So there's really should no way be a fraud anywhere there. But if there was, so how do we detect that? How do we stop someone that's coming into the courthouse and try to say, hey, I'm here to change my registry to vote when the let's see. There we go. Someone to try to change their voting registry after the deadline's already over. So that means they have to either rely on the black market or on a corrupt government official to change their voting registry even after the deadline. How do we detect that and stop that from happening? Or attempt to prevent it, because we can't really stop it, but we can attempt to prevent it.
Trying to think. Maybe like a one and done type of year thing. It's like at let's say middle of the year, like the weekend, usually after like July 4th or something, to come in and get your voter registry information stuff. So when you come in, you can get your card that says that it's you. And oh, that's a good question. I would imagine doing like to even remotely vote, like you still have to have your card. So like let's say you're using a RFID. There we go. Card and then you also have to use your fingerprint to. We're saying with the fingerprint because I think that's a good idea. To where like RFID chip plus your fingerprint on the machine or whatever. Plus, that helps with like if someone murders somebody and leaves their stuff at a crime scene, that helps out with solving cases and shit instead of just asking an assload of people. It'd be physically impossible for anyone to use your vote to cast a vote for somebody else. Because that make that person physically be there to vote. No, none of this like online shit that America tried doing.
Well, we're technically doing that too because that's all we got. So we're technically doing that too, unfortunately. So I mean, as far as I'm aware, you haven't registered to vote yet.
Yeah, I don't got the time to vote. I'm trying to get a second job.
Makes sense.
Oh yeah, another thing. Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you plan on getting a second job?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, good. I hope you get it. One of our citizens is trying to do the same thing. Well, two of our citizens are trying to say, well, I don't know about second job anymore. I think they're actually switching jobs this time. I'm switching jobs too. Hopefully it'll work out, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Senator McGuire, what about you?
Well, the only thing that popped up in my head is proof, basically. How could we tell whether or not they tried to change their registry until after the fact? Well, depending on location that we end up building for the voting registrations, I was thinking security cameras and the like. So if they show up, we would have them on camera, so we would know whether or not they upgraded their voting registration or if they tried to change it until after the fact. If we have the proof, then we would probably be able to figure out how to enforce the law against that.
Okay. So security cameras. So so far we got fingerprint machines and we have security cameras. So those are the two ideas I heard. And unfortunately, the Treasury cannot afford those two things. So that's the only unfortunate part there. So we got to think about our current situation about how to, because right now of how we do our voting registries, unfortunately, it is online. I send a link and people do it. So that is how people do it. Now, even though I've been a politician for 5 years, I'm not corrupt yet. At least I hope I'm not. If I am, please call me out. But as far as I'm aware, I'm not. So I keep track on all the voting registrations and everything. Um, so, and there's only 6. There's only 6 registered voters in the entire nation out of 22 total population. Well, out of 17 adults. There's only 6 out of 17 adults that are registered voters. So, yeah. So, I think it's like the numbers thing, I think we don't have enough population for a high amount of fraud to be committed. But regardless, if it ever comes to it, how should we ensure that our current number of registered voters is not going to change their voting registry past the deadline illegally? Senator McGuire.
Well, I think this law enforcement could be labeled underneath the demeanor kind of thing. I wouldn't necessarily call it like a big crime, but it's definitely like a big offense in a way.
Well, let me read NRS Chapter 5 for that. Let's see. There it is. Chapter 5, Section 6A and B. Fraud shall be classified as both a misdemeanor and a felony, depending on what was fraudulent.
There you go.
And according to Chapter 5, Section 6B, it says multiple counts of fraud shall result to a Class A felony, depending on many fraudulent claims were evident. So yeah, it really depends on what was fraudulent. And I do believe, and I'm sure you two would probably agree to this, actually. Having a fraudulent voting registry is actually a serious crime because you are committing fraud on registering to vote, which could change the outcome of a nation, which will make other voters who legally registered not a physical victim, but more of a indirect victim. Like that will be an indirect victim crime because it's fraud. You committed fraud. You changed the outcome of a whole nation because you had a fraudulent voting registry. Which, if no one caught it that it was fraud, you now got the right to vote. I mean, you had the right to vote anyway, but you got the right to vote in nationwide national elections and ballot initiatives. And no one caught it yet. You're now voting. So, so I think, yeah. So no, I do believe that it should be for having a fraudulent voting registration. That it should definitely be a Class A felony. Senator Ross, what do you think?
Yeah, it'll work. Also, I kind of got ahead of myself with, like, I was talking about, like, after we get the island and shit.
Right. I know. We're all wanting to have the island. I know. I mean, we're all trying to make that money so we can put it in and try to get it. We're all trying to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The American government is oppressing everybody to the point of freaking making everybody broke and poor and not be able to afford a damn thing. So, and I'm actually feeling that now because that's what my work is doing. And yes, I am blaming the government of what my work is doing because I know that it was the government's actions that caused my work to do this. So, I'm not going to blame my work for everything that it's doing. Not for the main reasons. No, the government is the main reason why it's happening. But the company I work for, it has a fault, not as big as the government's. So, of course, I don't like my job anyway, but I know where it's coming from. But looks like NAR Chapter 4 is also another thing to have either a whole meeting over or a next meeting over. All right. In that case, I move to postpone NAR Chapter 4 until all three of us, and Ivar if he's ever available, and the Queen too, if she's available, to write notes on how can we enforce NAR Chapter 4. And also, I would also like you all to write notes on how to enforce NAR Chapter 3, because it sounds like that one was the most complicated one out of all the regulations. Mm-hmm. So all three of us definitely need to take notes on how should we enforce those two regulations, because by law, we have to make an executive order for each one to enforce them. So, all right, I move to postpone NAR Chapter 4 until we get the notes written down to bring it back for next discussion. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Senator McGuire seconds the motion. All in favor of postponing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. In that case, the motion is postponed until we all get notes written down to figure out how the hell we're going to enforce this. All right. Let's move probably to the final thing of our agenda today, because it's already 10:40 Eastern time. I do want to try to at least get to the fourth thing on the agenda, but if we can, it's fine. Okay, so let's talk about the third thing. Talk about assigning more nations to senators to represent NICS. That is the agenda of today. So, do I have a second to talk about this topic in the meeting today? Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All right, Senator McGuire seconds the motion. All in favor on introducing this motion, say aye.
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 All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passed. The motion passes and is introduced. So let's talk about assigning more nations to senators. Since ambassadors no longer exist in the Kingdom of NICS, I've abolished them because we're too small. So, Senator Ross, I know you've been gone for a minute, but the title ambassador, or really the job of ambassador, no longer exists. So you are still a senator. You are still talking to other nations, but that's just a role. It's not a job anymore. That's in accordance with Executive Order number 6. That's your role as a senator, to talk to other nations. So you still got nations that you're assigned to talk to. So, which I'm a look at that. And that is not it. Okay, according to what I got here, Senator Ross, you are assigned to the Imperial Territories of Woodland, the Grand Duchy of Pikeland, the Commonwealth of Dracul, the Kingdom of Stratton, the Republic of Luxembourg, Wolfpack, Republic of Massadia, the Democratic Christian Republic of Malit, And that's it. And Senator McGuire, you are assigned to the Wakaku Commonwealth, the Delusion Unitary Republic, the Republic of Lisnaris, which I might reassign you off of that because they're no longer talking to us for some reason. The Kingdom of Lavari, the Kingdom of Yermolino, the Republic of Charlatoria, the Below Soviet, the Kingdom of Monzo, and that's it. And then there's me with everybody else. The Republic of Arkadelphia, the MAA, Chikel, the Pennsylvania Federation, Sierra Town and Humanitarian Empire, the Democratic Republic of Boliga, the Confederation of Angosphria, the Sovereign Municipality of Maristralia, and Espuna. All right, so there's a lot of nations that really need to be talked to, and because of the lack of the Queen's availability and the lack of Senator Ivar's availability, which are reasonable lack of availabilities, I might have to reassign some of the nations that they're talking to you guys, and of course myself. But I'm trying to get some off of me too, because I need to work on domestic stuff than other nations. So I'm probably gonna throw a lot of my nations that I talk to you guys. So we're gonna see about it. You know who I don't see on here, and that's the Dominion of Vancouver Island. That's what I don't see on here. I need to put that one on there.
Wait, isn't that Vancouver Island that fucking island, the U.S. or not U.S. Maybe it is U.S. and Canada like fucking fights over by putting a freaking bottle of alcohol on the top of the island.
I don't remember. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. So since I don't have Vancouver on the list, I am now putting them on the list, and I'm gonna give it to Senator McGuire. So I'm assigning you to Dominion of Vancouver Island.
All right.
And they're cool. They're cool to talk to. They usually talk, so hopefully you'll get some response. All right, Senator Ross, what is your availability on talking to other nations? I haven't seen you talk to Woodland and Pikeland at all.
Sorry, I've been busy with work. They've been stressing me out because I gotta right now. I gotta go to fucking like the literal horn of Texas. I think next week.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
I think is what it's called.
Well, Senator Ross, if you haven't noticed, there's a constitutional amendment on the ballot right now. It's predicted to pass. There's just like 2 more voters that we're waiting to report in, and it'll be finished. The senators and ministers are not going to be on the. Well, actually, hold on. I probably shouldn't really be talking about this because I'm pretty sure that goes against the agenda of the day. Yep, I'm out of order, so I'm gonna shut up now. In that case,
sorry.
Well, that should have been considered a test because you guys are supposed to call me out on it. There is a Robert's Rule of Order that says there's that like how you can call me out on it.
Oh no, I was gonna let you see how far you'll go before I said.
Oh, what was it? It was like like I want to look for it now. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere.
Growing a beard ain't working too well for me right now. The fuck.
Oh, hey. Just saying, if the topic is getting too long to talk about, all y'all have to do is say, I moved the previous question. And depending on, is there even a vote on it? No, I think that's just how you say it.
I don't even think we've gotten that far. Like, all the conversations we've had so far have not lasted more than 15 minutes. So.
Well, there's call for orders of the day. Yeah, there's call for orders of the day if I'm not following the order of the agenda. And that's supposed to help me remind myself, wait, where are we? Oh, we're right there. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. So that's basically what it is. All right, so anyway, back to nations. Which I won't lie, it's gonna suck on everybody. Damn it.
What? That was not an okay word.
What, that's gonna suck on everybody? Yeah, I know.
Yep. That was a little weak.
Well, it never is. So, well, I mean that in the most professional way possible. So, oh crap. Everybody's availability is making it difficult to talk to nations. I guess we have no choice but to only assign 2 people to talk to nations.
At the moment, I'm probably the only one that might have more time to be able to talk to them.
Yeah, I might have to give you up to almost everybody, really. Now, I'm sure the queen, if she was here, she would definitely say, no, Austin, I'll take some nations. Don't worry. I ain't going to put Bree on the spot like that. That's pretty much what she's going to do. So I'll leave the queen with the nations of what she's got right now. But Madam Senator, you're probably going to get a lot of nations thrown at you. And you know what? I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you what those nations are off record, and then I'll like announce what your role is on the website and announce what your role is on in the next meeting. So I'll just do that. As long as it's on record to know what nations you're talking about, then it's all good. Okay, so we're ditching this.
To be honest, I probably need more nations to talk to anyways. The only one that's been really active lately is me talking to the Commonwealth of Black Cuckoo. They're the only ones that's been really active and actually talking. Everybody else
they're very active. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't understand. Leave it to a Japanese speaking nation to talk a lot more than the English speaking. So
we're even talking in their language too. So there's that.
Right. Yeah, with Google Translate. So, which ain't entirely accurate, by the way, but we try our best. I actually had to go back and forth on the translation to ensure what I'm typing is actually what I'm typing. So,
right.
Because it also depends on the dialect too, because there are different Japanese dialects. There's different types of Japanese on the island. So
I've noticed that. That's why I'm always double checking before I send it.
Like, I think I actually posted this on the Facebook group about Japanese prefixtures, or maybe it's scheduled to post. I don't know if it's already posted, but it's scheduled to post. It's by Geography Now. If you actually watch that video, it will tell you how very different each Japanese culture is.
I imagine very different.
Now, imagine Japan, right? You got the, Japanese style looking curves, and you got the fancy samurai looking castles, right? Okay. there's a town on the island of Hokkaido. That is how you say it, Hokkaido. There's on the island of Hokkaido. It's all the way up north, and the town looks like a Swedish town, and everybody there does everything Swedish for absolutely no reason. I don't know if there was like a bunch of Swedish there, or we got some Swedish Japanese that are there and they just happen to do Swedish stuff on that town or anything, but it's all Swedish style culture stuff in that town on the island of Hokkaido up north. So it's awesome. Not gonna lie. I've never been there, I've never seen it. I've just seen like glimpses of it. But I heard it was nice. I heard it's cool. The people are nice, and it's all Swedish flags, Swedish colors. It was all over the place. So Sweden, everything in Japan. What? No. So, fun. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'll definitely do it off record, and then I'll just announce your roles on the other records. So, do we have a second to move forward to? Wait, hold on. Actually, hold on a second. You know what? All right. Do we have a motion to end this specific topic for today's meeting? Let's see if I can find.
I second.
Because I'm pretty sure we were technically debating.
I second the motion.
Okay. Senator McGuire seconds the motion. Oh, well. There's that too. Okay. Procedure.
Holy shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
You're okay.
Saw the price of this guy trying to sell dually tires with spacers and really beefy looking tires on a marketplace. He wants way too much for an 8-low.
Okay, I don't see anything that looks like we need another thing. So, okay, so I would consider this to be ending a debate on the topic, and we already got a second from Senator McGuire. It's not debatable, so even if you had an ejection, that's too bad, and it requires a 2/3 majority vote. So, all right, Senator McGuire, what's your vote?
I vote aye.
Senator Ross, what's your vote?
For which one again?
We are ending the debate on talking about assigning more nations to senators.
Oh, I.
All right, that's 2 out of 3, so that would be a 2/3 majority regardless. All right, the debate on that topic is hereby ended. And I move. Yeah, and I move that we adjourn. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All right. We got a second for Senator McGuire. This requires a majority vote. So, Senator McGuire, your vote.
I vote aye.
Senator Ross, your vote.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, guys. I'll see you all next meeting.